Welcome to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld. I have a very exciting guest today, Oxana Lovich, who is a really professional, amazing expert coach in getting people to create their vision, to follow through with their dreams and manifest their reality. So that's really why I like to talk to her, because she really is like goes deep into the personality and the person and brings out that potential. So welcome, Oxana. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for such an amazing introduction.
Yes, well, I like what you're doing. You want to talk about how you work on many, many different levels and, break it down into the steps that you work with people on. So we'd love to hear that. Thank you.
Yes, what I've discovered is that we are like a musical instrument. And when one of the strings of a musical instrument is out of tune, the whole instrument no longer sounds harmoniously. And what I've realized that a lot of people, they find one area of their life and they concentrate on it, on improving and transforming that area. But truly, we should be working on all of our areas so that we create balance and harmony. And that's when we will achieve fulfillment and peace, prosperity and abundance.
So go through the steps of how you work with people, how you understand, how you actually tune into the depth of what they need to work with. Go through it. Give us this.
Yes, honestly, each individual is different. So I may work differently with different people, but I would say like the first step, I would always start with identifying limiting beliefs, because honestly, if you have limiting beliefs, you will have lots of challenges accomplishing any goal. Depends, of course, what kind of belief, but limiting beliefs are just like a captain, like they're driving our life. And how they happen is that when we are little children, we learn from our parents, from school, from our environment, how life should be lived. And then we just create those ideas. Like, for example, if we see that our parents didn't have love in their relationship, right? We may decide that there is no love in marriage. We may assume that marriage should always fail, or marriage doesn't bring satisfaction.
So how do we get in touch with our limiting beliefs? Because we're oblivious to them because we just think that's the way the world is. So how would we start to know what my limiting belief is about certain things? How do you help people?
So observe who you are under pressure, because limiting beliefs are actually seen the most when we are in stress and in anxiety mode. For example, let's say somebody has a belief about lack and limitation in their financial area, right? So this particular person just received a lottery. So he's feeling amazing. He's feeling so abundant. That's not a situation that will show you your beliefs. Observe yourself when you're paying bills. Observe yourself when you just got like an unexpected payment that you have to make. Any payments that you make, is it easy for you to make those payments? Because if you have hard time giving money, it means you have a belief about lack. It means that you are not believing it's coming. You're not believing in the flow.
I used to have a hard time about paying bills, but then when I got excited about paying bills, it's like, oh, I don't have to think about that, and more comes. You're right. You're right. If you can get excited about paying those bills, in a sense, because then you don't have to think about it. You're free and you trust the universe, right? Is that it?
Yes, I would also call money, I would call them gratification, because just imagine like if the world didn't have any money, And like if somebody cooks for you in a restaurant, you would still want to give some kind of gratification for what you receive. Like if you live in a beautiful house and somebody built it, you would like to give some kind of gratification for it, right?
Mhm.
And also we need to observe ourselves in our conversations, because people who have the most limitations, they often say, oh, I can't, or this is so expensive, or this is impossible, or not in this lifetime. Like, because our language actually shows what we believe. And sometimes, since we are such habitual beings, we don't even notice what we say. So
Right.
sometimes I would literally like I will tell my clients what they're saying to me, and they say, wow, I didn't even realize I'm actually doing this. Like that's what I mean. Like start becoming aware of your conversation, what you're saying to others and what you're saying to yourself.
I think that's really key, how we talk to ourselves, like
Mm-hmm.
your inner thoughts. Are you always putting yourself down, saying, you should have done that and this and this? And it's like, we have to change. That's the hardest to do. How do we change our inner dialogue?
Okay, so the inner dialogue, I have to say it's a little bit a tricky part, because that's why I work on all 7 areas of life, because I actually believe that a healthy, balanced person should not live in their mind. So truly, we should not be working on our inner monologues and dialogues. We should be working on disassociating from our thoughts.
Right.
So start living in a heart. It's the feeling of love towards yourself. It's the feeling of abundance. It's the feeling of being prosperous and beautiful. Yet, as Einstein said, the mind should be the server. So we should use it sometimes. And at those moments, I would say we can program ourselves to change those dialogues, because if at one point you learn to be negative towards yourself, at the same time you can say to yourself, stop, that's not me, enough. You literally, like, you are taking control over your mind, because you become the master. Because the mind constantly says things according to your previous experiences and beliefs. So it's like a habitual way of saying. It's
Right.
already like it's a repetition. And if you continue allow it to repeat those thoughts and beliefs, you are co-creating the future that will be very similar to the past. And unless you love your past, you can continue doing it. And I think that everybody is capable. It's a decision. Of course, it may take some time. If you've been negative for 30 years, it may take you at least 30 days to like have a progress, but every day you will be better and better.
Great. So let's talk about the what you talked about, the 7 areas of life. Let's go through each one and how we can work on each level of those areas. Okay.
Okay, awesome. So the first area is actually the area of our prosperity. It's the area of our health. It's very much related with our chakras, and it's all about physical world. Like we can, like material abundance, our physical health, and they're actually very connected. A lot of people do not realize, especially when they're young, they eat unhealthy, they drink too much, they smoke, and they do not realize that it's exactly what will affect them later, because money and prosperity is the energy. And if you lose your vital energy, you are losing your prosperity as well. It's a very, very broad subject. And what I say that it's not only about energetic approach, even though you should be energetically cleansed and open and you should have powerful beliefs, but you also should be smart. You should be ahead of the game. We're living in a new world. We're living in a world which is changing rapidly. People who become highly, highly successful are the ones who are highly connected with their intuition. People who become highly successful, they do not search answers in thousands of books. They search the answers within.
How do we do that? How do we become more intuitive?
Yes, it's exactly, that's why I worked on 7 areas of life. It's exactly, and you like to talk about multidimensional. That's what I like. That it starts with physicality and then it goes into spirit. And intuition, it's a very broad subject. If you want me to go into it now, I can do it.
I do.
Because it's actually at the core.
I'm getting an intuitive hit that's what you should do now. Yes.
Okay. It's actually my favorite subject because I believe that's where all begins.
It's my favorite subject too, because I think my viewers, they've achieved a certain level of success and they're tuning into this next level. They want to know this part. So tell us this. Yes. Let's
okay.
get into that.
So first of all, do you know that, did you know that Einstein, he would spend 7 hours in the bath?
I like that. I spend time in the bath myself, but yeah.
And do you know what he was doing in the bath?
Was he playing with toy boats? No. What was
well, he was connecting to his intuition.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But he was not connecting with his intuition in the way that he was pushing it. The reason why he was spending time in the bath, it's because our intuitive portal is open when we're completely relaxed and when we're completely free of the mind.
Right.
Because the reason why so many people cannot connect to their intuition because they live in their mind.
Right.
And the mind becomes so like it dominates you. So it constantly speaks to you. How can you possibly hear the voice of a spirit or the voice of your higher self if you have this mind? And even if you hear it, you will not recognize what it is.
Right. So how do we get out of the head and into the other parts of ourselves? How do you suggest we stop the mind?
Yes. So first of all, the mind cannot be stopped. Like if you are dead, your mind will stop. It's more about shifting the awareness and not taking the thoughts in your heart, because the thoughts can still pass by. For example, have you seen like a freeway, the cars are driving? Do they affect you in any way? The same as like your thoughts, they're driving by and that's okay. And
so
some of them may interest you.
Observe it. Observe the mind. Don't. Yeah, I say it's like a radio in the background. We don't have to listen to the radio. We can hear it, but if the radio guy says, do this, doesn't mean we have to do it. That's just the recycled thoughts. Exactly. I know what you mean. Yes, yes, yes.
Deep breathing is necessary. And also what is essential, I believe that every individual has its own unique way of accomplishing things, achieving present moment, connecting to the intuition. We also all are different. Like some people connect with certain spirits, some people see visions, some people feel it in the gut, like everybody's different. So what I would recommend is write down on a piece of paper and ask a question from your spirit guides or from your higher power or from your subconscious, whatever you want to call it. What is the fastest and easiest way for me to connect with my intuition? What is the fastest and easiest way for me to become present?
Right.
Because each person is so very different and the same techniques may not work for different people. That's what I realized.
So when we're present, our intuition is more accessible. It's more there. It's more right there. Because it's talking to us all the time. but our mind is so busy, we don't really hear it. So I get that. All right, that's very good. So when we're in touch with our intuition, then we have, then what? So what does that lead to? What's the point of being in touch according to your technique? Why do we get in touch with the intuition?
Well, when we're in touch with our intuition, we are following our true life's purpose. We are meeting people who help us on our journey to fulfillment. We are experiencing miracles and magical events. Because truly, what I've noticed when I started connecting to my intuition, all of my trips that I made, they were so spontaneous.
Right.
Because I just I started like allowing, and I started losing fears. Because sometimes our intuition may tell us something that the logical mind will completely reject.
Right.
And I would say also elimination of the fear, because sometimes what stops our intuition is the fear. And intuition is our key to fulfillment and abundance and prosperity and love and anything else. Because imagine you can always be in the right place in the right times, say the right things, do the right things, meet the right people. You would just be, I don't know, a multidimensional being.
So it's trusting. I mean, that's the big thing, I think, because we get in our mind, we have to do this, this, and this. And then something else may come along. You say, no, I can't because I have in my mind. But if we just trust more, the universe is guiding us and testing us. That's really what you're saying. You're to help me anyway. That's what I get about this. Yes, thank you. So what's the next level then? That's one. How do we go deeper then in the other areas of our life?
So, for example, what area exactly do you want to talk? I think we should talk a little bit about heart.
Yes.
Because heart is the area of intuition as well. Yeah. What I've noticed that when our heart is healed, when our heart is radiating, we are naturally becoming very, very intuitive, because everything in nature lives in a state of their heart. Right. Except human beings. That's why when two dogs or two cats get in a fight, they don't remember that they fight it, like right. They love each other in 5 minutes, and only humans hate each other for 10 years. Because right. So
let's talk about that then. How do we get into that space? Let's do some exercises. Talk us through something and give us an experience of that, because
yes, it's so easy. Actually, just take a breath into your heart. And feel love. And if you constantly breathe from your heart, and if you constantly remind yourself to live in that space, it will become your new normal. And that's what will happen, is that jealousy, comparison, judgment, any negative emotions will just disappear. It's not easy, I have to say. They will still appear from time to time. But the more you work on your heart, like breathe from your heart, radiate love, you will realize that you will start seeing people and their behavior separately. Because each person has a soul, a beautiful soul, and has a behavior, but the behavior is not necessarily because the person has not a beautiful soul. A behavior is simply the result of limiting beliefs. You know what I mean? Like, you start seeing it like the person maybe just be wounded. Because the reason why we hold so much resentment towards others and unforgiveness, it's because we believe they did it on purpose. What if the person is wounded himself or herself? Imagine where the person must be at that moment to do such things to you. Oh, I
Yes.
cannot hear you.
No,
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh.
Yes, I understand. No, I was just kind of taking that all in. So thank you. So when you work with people, you do get very personal that way because you're more of a coach of transformation, but you have to go deep into that personal part of, so then that's a key place to remember. What else? What is the next level? The heart, intuition, those are really good points.
Mhm.
Satisfaction in your world, creating a beautiful environment. Let's go into these other levels too.
The area of sexuality too. It's a very powerful area. A lot of people dismiss. The area of sexuality is our inner power. It's our strength. It's our connection to creating. Because a lot of people, like in this world, they believe that sexuality is a taboo subject. Like they believe there is something shameful about that. But honestly, through sexual energy, we can create a child, right? It's the energy of creation. We can also create ideas. That's why sacral chakra is responsible for our creativity. And that's why, do you know Think and Grow Rich? Famous book,
Yes,
Think and Grow
yes,
Rich.
Napoleon Hill, yes.
Do you know the name of the chapter 11?
No, but I have the book. I can get it, but tell me.
Sexual transmutation.
Oh, great.
Because Napoleon Hill also believes that sexual energy is very much connected with our manifestation skills. And and healing sexual energy starts with understanding that there is nothing shameful about your body. There is nothing shameful about sexuality. And shifting your awareness from physical needs, like meeting your physical needs merely, and instead going into your spiritual sexuality, which is the energy which we can shift, the energy which we can multiply, the energy that we can re-energize ourselves with, the energy that we can use to become younger. It's actually the best anti-aging secret. Shifting that sexual energy of arousal all over your body and recharging yourself, recharging your cells, because at that moment you are alive.
So you're not just saying when you're just having sex, you're saying all the time, keep pulling that energy into you, right? Or when you're having sex.
Yes, allow that to flow, because a lot of people just stop it, like, like they do it just like so fast, and they think they just like in constant need to finish everything. But that's the moment, that's the ecstatic moment. Like, allow that energy, awaken your cells, re-energize them, allow all your cells to have an orgasm, so that you're alive, you're charging your body with vitality, you're charging your body with energy. Honestly, I think this is also the best anti-aging secret, because I've noticed women and men who have an amazing sex life, sensual, tantric, they stop aging. Because also what happened is people who do not practice sensual sexuality often get bored with sexuality, and that's why they kind of stop loving it. And when we stop loving it, we stop experiencing it. And when we stop experiencing it, we send a message to our brain that we're done.
So let's talk about sensual sexuality instead of just wham bam. It's like slow and sensing and touching. It's not just the act of intercourse, it's the whole body experiencing a sensual presence of being, right? This is what you mean. This.
Yes, because we live in a world of technology and Instagram and Facebook, and all the teenagers now, like on the phone constantly. So we stop seeing each other more than just the body. You know what I mean? Like we are much more than that. Like the reason we stop experiencing energy, it's because we just I think we get lost in this technology world
Yeah.
and a very fast-paced world. And what Tantra can teach you is to reconnect to an energetic aspect of you. So when you're with your partner, what about going beyond the physical body?
Mhm.
What about opening up yourself so much that you can experience energy? It may not happen in the first time, so don't get discouraged if you have never tried this. It may take some time. And I would also ask a question: what is the easiest and fastest way for me to start experiencing energy? And you will start receiving the answers if you're open to it.
Right.
And that's when true miracle will happen, because when you achieve that state of energetic connection with each other, the time stops.
And if you're not with a partner, do you still practice that on your own?
Okay, I have to say that Andrei, remember Andrei? He encourages that. I myself, for some reason, I believe that it's yin and yang. I believe it should be a partner, like for me. But there are
I think
tantra
so
teachers
too.
who encourage that.
I think so
Yeah,
too. You need the yin for the yang. You need the,
because I already believe that we're already so disconnected. You know, like
yeah.
we already we talk on the
I,
phone, on Skype. You
I
know.
agree with you. We need that energy to fulfill the other
Mhm.
half of existence, of life, of being. So yes, yes, yes. But you still want to practice a sensuality in your everyday, you know, like I brush my body, you know, I try to eat healthy. Don't eat junk. It's all that kind of tuning into the body, tuning into the actual pure sensuality of existence, looking at the colors around you, hearing the sounds of the birds, feeling your body as the clothes touch it or the chairs. It's like the sensuality of everyday living is a good practice to do that. Do you think so?
Absolutely. Yes. I like to practice sensuality in a dance. Like I
Oh,
like to dance very much, you know.
what kind of dancing do you do?
Oh, I was a professional dancer, a ballroom dancer.
Oh, you'll have to teach me some ballroom dancing.
Honestly, I have to say, like I did it in Russia,
Yeah.
but when I came here, I didn't pursue that career because I was so busy with my other schools, you know.
So I like everything you're talking about. We talk about intuition. We're talking about dropping into the heart. We're talking about sexuality, sensuality. And then the next level is what? Where do you go to help bring people into alignment?
Finding your confidence. It's
Mm,
very essential because a lot of people are actually not. Some people did found who they are, but some people are not secure in themselves. And that's why they're creating drama and conflict in their relationships, in all their relationships.
right.
For example, when somebody tells me that I'm constantly being criticized or I'm constantly attracting people who do this and this and this and this to me, I immediately say, let's go into your own self and
Right.
find out how are you treating yourself, because
Oh,
confidence is a skill, is a tool. If you believe you can do something, if you believe you can become successful, if you can believe you can achieve enlightenment, you can do it. However, if you believe otherwise, you will encounter lots of obstacles on your path. And that's very essential because there was a very famous book written. Do you know cybernetics?
I've heard, I think I even have that book. I think of psycho-cybernetics. Yes, right. Yeah.
It's so powerful because it was written by a plastic surgeon who actually said that 90%, I don't remember how many percent, maybe 80, some percentage of his clients did not need a plastic surgery. The reason why people turn into a plastic surgery because our world have a very, like a lot of people are struggling with lack of confidence to some degree. And why is it? It's because not only our parents do not always provide us support and encouragement when we're little babies and we take everything personally. Also, when we grow up in a society, we're growing up in a society of comparison. So people start believing that if I have a better car or if I live in a better house, I am better than you.
Right.
So we are all energetic beings and we feel each other unconsciously. That's why we have these problems in the world, because almost more than 60% of people believe in that structure of the world. And it's a little more challenging to shift 60%. You know what I mean? It's because it's not a minority, it's a majority of people. And that's why we are, who are awakened beings, spiritual beings, we still constantly work on ourselves, because when we wake up in the morning, we may experience some negative thoughts, not from ourselves, but from the world.
I get that. You're absolutely right. So if we know who we are, we trust in our own being, then we have the energy to do our mission in the world. Because I think what you're really helping people tap into is, why are they here? What is the power of their existence, right? How do people discover that? Because it took me a long time. I mean, I sort of always knew what I wanted to do, but it's just all sort of come together recently after many years of trying to find out, what am I here to do and what gives me the most enjoyment? And then I just sort of did what I was compelled to do. So how do you tell people how to find their purpose in life? That's, I think, the most important.
Yes, again, it's connecting with your intuition and asking questions. And also, I would say that we know what we like. We always know what we like. The reason why a lot of people do not follow their purpose, because they are living in their mind. So the mind tells them, well, I need to find something that brings money. Because I've seen so many people who are really good at art and they don't take it seriously. They would not consider it their talent or profession because they have a belief that an artist is a poor person.
Right. And there's a lot of rich artists out there, actually, right?
But the world is kind of has that belief. That's why finding a purpose. Also, I have to say one thing. I believe that everything has a divine timing. And how I know this, because I also didn't find my purpose immediately. I was doing acting before, but then I had a spiritual experience. I had a spiritual awakening in Mount Shasta.
Oh, tell me about that. I'm very interested in spiritual awakening, and then how and what your purpose is. So how did you tell me about the spiritual awakening?
It was.
What happened?
Okay. So I have to say, so it was a very interesting experience, because it was a medicine ceremony. Okay, so I saw colors, but I don't think colors are that important. But I think the colors, what I saw is that I have I literally saw my chakras, because I was a little scared at first, but I saw the frequencies. I've seen how the world, I saw flower of life. I felt everything. And the most important, guess what I felt? I felt so much love.
Yes.
Love. Oh my God. There was so much love, towards us. There are spirits and guides. There is so much love for us. I think it's just our crazy minds make us believe that we somehow are alone, or
yes, you're right,
somebody doesn't love us, because in that other world, I felt so much love. So I was crying from happiness and, you know, from like real awakening. And I remember when the ceremony was over, I laid on the grass, and for the first time in my life, I felt the earth. Because before I was just walking on the earth and I didn't care about it. I realized how we are all connected, how the earth supports us, and we should be supporting it. And after that, I became very concerned about everything I do not to harm the earth. I realized the wholeness.
And then
Wholeness of
what was
all
your
beings.
purpose? How did you find your purpose from that? What was your purpose?
Okay, I found my purpose. I realized at that time that the reason why I was pursuing acting, it was because it was coming from my mind, from my egoic self. Because I realized in that time when I was laying there, that this whole time I was trying to prove the world and to my relatives and to everyone I know that I was someone. That's what I realized, because, you know, I had like very tragic events in my life in the past. Like I like my parents passed away and I didn't feel enough. So I chose that acting career because I needed to prove, you know, like it was
And
like
then you realized that you didn't have to prove anything to anybody.
I realized it's not how I should prove it, and mostly to myself, that I am lovable.
Right.
And what I also realized that despite the fact that I was doing acting for like 6 years, I think, I realized it was not a mistake. Even the egoic mind can lead you to something great, because acting gave me so much foundation for my next career. So everything happens for a reason.
So what was your career? What was your choice? What was that your destiny? What was it?
To become a transformational coach. And interestingly enough, I was doing it the whole time I was doing acting anyway, but I did it for my personal transformation. So I would constantly go to different schools to study mind power, the silver method, NLP. I was doing that already. I just didn't realize that I was doing it for my career. I thought I was doing it for myself because I wanted to transform myself. Because as I mentioned, the best coaches are honestly the ones who are transforming themselves.
Yes.
You know, we go through experiences, we heal ourselves, and then when we heal ourselves, we have a capacity to heal others. And when we experience pain in the past, we have a capacity to love, you know?
Great. No, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that story, because I could see there was a transformation and an awakening, because you're passionate about going for it, helping people, tuning in. And this is what you've devoted your life to, right? Because this is what, to see somebody change can be a very beautiful experience.
Absolutely.
So what else other points did we have to cover then? And we couple of
okay, so another one is communication skills.
Oh yeah.
Communication skills, a lot of people dismiss completely. They just believe, you know, I'm who I am. Communication skills is a key to success in every area of your life.
What do you mean? Give me an example. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Okay, so for example, what I've noticed, we live in a world where everybody is, not everybody, but a lot of people are concentrating on themselves more than concentrating on others. For example, we are much more eager to talk about our own life's experiences, right? About our vacations, about our boyfriends or whatever, rather than listening and taking in a non-judgmental approach. For example, I had a manager once in Los Angeles in Miracle Mile, and everybody said she was a bitch. Like, honestly, that's how they called her. I don't use those words, but that's how they called her. And, you know, I said to myself, well, let me see. I looked at her once and I gave her a compliment. The next time I gave her another compliment, and then I gave her another compliment, and I was not sincere. I was very honest. She
Well, you
had
gave her the
good things
compliment
about.
because you felt that about her, not to get in her good side. You just
Yes.
felt like, oh, she looks very good today, or she's dressed nice, or something like that. Yes. Yes.
What I mean is, yes, because hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And communication skill is a realization that you shouldn't take it personally, especially if you need something from the person.
Right.
Because you can build successful relationships with people who may not have the best personality, and it often happens at work. I've had so many clients who told me they have the worst possible boss in the world. That's what I mean, like getting into the person in a polite and authentic and empathetic way. It's a perfect example of communication skills, the mastery of communication skills. The same is in our relationship. A lot of people, like for example, we're in intimate relationship, right? Our boyfriend does something to us, and we assume he did it because of this and this and this. What if you have excellent communication skills and you just come to your partner and you say, honey, can you explain why you said that?
Well, you know what, Marshall Rosen, have you studied nonviolent communication?
No, maybe I should.
You should. This will really help your communication skills, because Marshall Rosenberg says, don't go to someone and say, well, this is what he says, not to make saying you're doing it wrong, because I'm sure he says, tell people what you need and how you feel without accusing them of doing anything. So you could say, when you left the room suddenly, I felt abandoned, and I need to understand what was behind your actions. And people won't have an argument with that. They'll just say, oh, okay, you felt that way. I didn't mean to make you feel that way. I just had to run off and do something. So you see, we can all agree on the action, but we can't agree on the reason for the action. This is Marshall Rosenberg's work. So you talk about needs and feelings first, your own needs, and then you make a request. Because if you make a request of someone like, why did you do that? It sounds like a demand, and no one likes to answer demands. So if you tell people how you feel and what you need, because we all have the same needs, really, we're all the same people. We all want love and support and food and shelter and all those things. Then we're here to meet each other's needs, because that gives us satisfaction. So when I say, oh, tell me what your needs are, then we're communicating and say, no, I didn't do that because of anything to you. I had these other things going on. So it's just a technique that I'll tell you, I'll send you some information. Nonviolent communication. It's tuning into why people do certain things and methods of communication to understand their motivations and your reactions, something like that.
Yes, that's very true. It's also our ability to be vulnerable. Like for example, as you say, we have sometimes such a hard time to say how we feel. Communication, also great communication skills starts with our ability to be vulnerable and learning how to shift our triggers. Because oftentimes we learn our communication skills from our childhood. Like, for example, if our mother would explode in a conflict, it may be our normal way of communicating when we get upset.
And that's what we learn, right?
Yeah, because that's what we learn. And also our reptilian mind, it was created before our thinking brain. So that's why we immediately go into this highly emotional triggered state. what we have to learn that we need to set a reminder somewhere, because reminders are wonderful things. When we have a reminder, it will always remind us what we're working on, to learn how to interrupt the pattern step by step. For example, if you're constantly getting triggered, the next time you feel getting triggered, instead literally sing a song, take a book, just read one sentence, a passage, just do something you've never done before, jump a little bit, talk to someone, anything that doesn't allow you to get into this triggered mode. And if it doesn't work the first time, even if it worked for 30 seconds, you're already winning, because the next time it will be a minute, then 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Even if you can postpone that trigger at first, it's already working.
So communication really is foundational to transformation, right? Better learning to communicate. That's what you're really saying. That's so important. You're right. And yeah, there's so many different approaches, but yeah, thank you for being open to, I love, weaving all these parts of people's lives together, or my life, to make it all work. We all want to be useful in the world. We all want to serve. One thing, Marshall Rosenberg, who started this idea about nonviolent communication, he says, people have a need to give love, not just receive love. That is a basic human need. And I think you're by working with people, you're helping, you're giving yourself that, your need to love, your need to care, your need to help people, your need to serve. That's part of our needs, our basic needs. So I appreciate what you're doing, because you're giving yourself permission to explore the totality in service to others.
Yes, thank you so much.
So what other levels? Okay, I think, and now let's talk about, so we're working our way up through, the heart, communication. Let's go to an intuition. Then let's go to the multidimensional aspects, the higher aspects of the soul, like bringing in that spiritual aspect to transformation, right?
Yes, that's the most powerful place, I think. Unfortunately, I have to say that not everybody is willing to go there. Right. And for example, if I talk to a normal person, the one who is living physical earthy world, he may think I'm crazy, right? Right. What I mean, it's this particular spiritual world that we can go and be and live in. It's the understanding that we are not here by ourselves. Right. We are here with other beings. For example, every time I go to Costa Rica, I'm going to meet Goddess Fortuna. Okay, but like, I cannot just talk on the news, because some people may think I may need to go to a mental institution. Oh no, but we're talking to my people who have already, and so you can go there. They will understand me, right? Totally. Let's talk about Goddess Fortuna. Yes. Okay, I love Fortuna. She creates so many miracles in my life. How do you know? How do you get in touch with Fortuna? How do you? Okay, I have to tell you first of all a little bit of my story. Do you know that I was born in the city? I know that I told everybody I was from St. Petersburg, but my mother is from a city called Ijevsk. It's a portal. It's a portal for a parallel world. Really? How far from St. Petersburg is it? By train, it's 2 days. Wow. Is it out east towards Siberia? It's yes, it's Uralsky. Oh, the Ural Mountains. Wow. Yeah. It's a portal for a spiritual world. So it was normal in our family to speak with spirits. It was normal in our family to close the mirrors, like not to see spirits. It was normal for us to do some invitation to the spirits. Like, it's normal for us in the place where my mother was from. Like, almost on every corner there is like some spiritual guru, because it's just very normal. Shamans and witchcraft is very common in that place.
What's the name of the town again?
Izhevsk.
Ijevsk. Okay, and
Yes.
that's great. No, thank you. And you cover the mirrors so this you don't have to, so then you don't see the spirits, because if you're looking in the mirrors, you'll see the spirit, right?
In certain times.
Yes.
Not every single day. At certain times, we believed at certain times, because my grandmother was very, very into it.
Did you grow up there? Did you grow up?
I didn't grow up there. I grew up in St. Petersburg, but the spiritual part of me was there, because from an early age I heard spirits, and at the early age I actually was scared. Like, for example, I could not sleep by myself. I could not sleep without light. I could not, I mean, in the darkness.
Right.
I was afraid. And then I've learned that it's actually my power. It's the best thing I have, to be connected with spirits, because they guide me. Like Fortuna, I know she's there, and I know that.
Who
like
was
nobody
Fortuna?
can.
Describe her. Was she the goddess of the ocean? And
No, Fortuna is the goddess of good luck and fortune.
In Costa Rica is a
Yes, La Fortuna. That's why I go there. I already went there 2 times. And each time I went there, Alan, she transformed my life. And you know what? Everything I asked her happened not in a month or 2, but in 3 days.
Wow.
And I gave her lots of presents.
How do you call upon her? How do you bring her to you?
She's just there. I feel like I feel her presence. I feel her, like how we're divinely connected, because she's a divine feminine. I feel her love. I feel how she's supporting and nurturing me, you know?
We should give a Fortuna workshop. Let's go there to Costa Rica.
Yeah, it's my favorite place on earth. I'm actually going there soon to buy a property.
You are? When are you going there?
Since I just came back and I need to do lots of work, as soon as I feel like I've accomplished a lot, I'm going to immediately go, because I was checking the property this time, but I didn't find yet the one that I like.
And what will you do on the property? Create a retreat center?
I don't want to start with the retreat center at first, because it's a very big investment. I've heard from, like, my business coach doesn't recommend doing it at this moment, but I would like to buy a property that in the future will be a retreat center, step by step.
But let's get back to the spiritual. So you feel the goddess energy when you're there in Costa Rica in nature, huh? And then how does she communicate with you?
Through the heart. I feel her. I feel her messages. I just know it's her. I can hear her musical voice, you know, like it's something that is not, it's impossible not to recognize.
Does she have a message for us now?
Well, Fortuna, Fortuna is the goddess that always advised to live in the heart, radiate love. And when you radiate love, everything else will follow.
Great. So when you go to Costa Rica, you really feel that energy very strongly, huh? So,
and not only Fortuna, you know, my parents passed away. And for some reason, I'm not feeling very connected to my mother, but my father is everywhere. Like I feel his spirit. It's an incredible thing he creates in my world. And when I needed his help the most, he sent me a person with his name. Like I know that he is there all the time, and he's always there for me. And I believe that's why I was able to go through so much. You know, I went through a lot in the past. Like, he was guiding me. He was holding my hand all the time. I felt it.
So then in your coaching, talk about how people, the ones that are open to it, connect to spirit. Talk about how they can pull in that bigger, higher chakra awareness. Okay. How do we tap into this greater field?
I have to say the truth. A lot of people that I work with, they're not necessarily interested in connecting to spirits to that degree. The ones that are interested, I believe that it's something you have or you don't have, honestly. You can develop those skills, but do you know, like, what one person was born to be a president, one person was born to be a musician, one person was born to be a banker, and one person was born to be a shaman.
Right.
A shaman is the one who walks between worlds. He just has that portal is open. That's why he has such a strong desire. Because he's capable. That's why my teacher told me people should be very careful with witchcraft, because people who do not understand what they're going towards may not be able to handle it.
Are you a shaman? Do you consider yourself a shaman?
I would say, I wouldn't say that I am a shaman, but I definitely have a deep connection with the spiritual world. And I came from a family of shamans. So, but I haven't done the shamanic ceremony to become a shaman, but I have those qualities in me.
I think you might enjoy being a shaman.
Yes, I was a medicine woman. I lived with medicine men. They told me, you're a medicine woman. You've been a medicine woman many lifetimes. So it's in me, you know?
I think it is you. It's like being a spiritual coach. It's like being a coach, but, you know, on a whole other level. I see that as possible for you. And I think it would also help you go to another level of your own spirituality, working with spirits that way, working with your higher spirits, you know? So, well, thank you. This has been very beautiful. What do you want to leave people with? What wisdom would you like to tell people to get them excited about their life and help them expand, so then they can also follow up with you? So, you know, what kind of, like, you have to give something a little bit, right, to get a response from people. What would you give people now as a gift?
Well, as a gift, actually, I have lots of free lessons on my website. On my website, Apex Life Mastery. And
what is it again? Wait, spell your website.
Yes, APEX.
Apex.
Yes, LIFE.
Apex Life.
Apex Life Mastery.
Okay.
MASTERY.
Yeah.
.com.
Great. And then could you just, if you could say something to people listening to here? Yeah, there's some great free gift, but what could you?
Yes, I would like to say that I worked with all kinds of different clients, and especially when I work with people who are in kind of their age, when they're close to death, like they're experiencing some health challenges, they realize, oh my God, all this time I was wasting my time on useless worries, on useless drama, on useless conflict. And I never, ever appreciated life to its fullest. Instead, I was taken with my mind into the darkest places because I was constantly triggered and I was constantly lost in roller coaster of life.
Right.
My advice: to understand it sooner than later.
Sooner I understand what life is about.
Yes, because life is a miracle. Why not appreciate it now when you have that, when you have beautiful health, when you have vitality, when you're beautiful, when you can enjoy life?
Start
realizing that you have it, and that's a blessing.
Beautiful. Thank you. I've been talking to the lovely, talented Oxana Lovich, and your website again, Apex Mastery. Apex, what is it?
Life
Mastery.
Apex Life Mastery.
And she is a life coach. She will coach you. She'll work with you for abundance, for happiness, for joy, for healing, for health, for just feeling present in the moment. Would you say? Is that a good way to put it? Thank you, Oxana. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
I'm Alan Steinfeld for New Realities. Thank you for watching today.